Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we're going to talk about misconceptions being used in mythologies. One uh, one that's become a very common entity, to try to make things scary that is being cited everywhere is the skinwalker. The skinwalker itself is meant to be a witch who has the ability to shapeshift. It is out of Navajo lore. But you see it so much now. Oh, this could be it. Oh, this could be it. Oh, this could be it. No. This was something, a mythology born of Navajo lore, of the Navajo tales. If you want the truth about it, do research from the Navajo peoples. I'm it irritates me that I see so many channels trying to use it as a to upgrade their spook factor. Look, I like spooky stuff, creepy stuff, but I see this as an instance of being cited so often. And it's not meant to be this, oh, it's amazing. No. No. This is something that is out of fear, part of the mythologies in Navajo culture. It's supposed to be a harmful witch or a harmful medicine man who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. Quite literally, the name they would use often meant by means of it, it goes on all fours, as kind of a rough translation to English. But yeah, um, and I'm so tired of this just being used. Oh, it could be this. So I've been a fan of the weird and the spooky and unusual for a long time, but I'd never heard of one until watching Lost Tapes. Now it's all over the place. And it's ridiculous. It really is. There's so many interesting pieces of Native American lore, but they're often abused by those who are like, oh, look at this, look at that. And unfortunately, this is one of those instances. Another one that often gets abused, the Wendigo. It's often cited as having horns or antlers. That is nowhere. in the original Algonquian tales as told by the Algonquian peoples. It is the driven spirit of an insatiable hunger. I mean, perhaps one of the oldest and most famous tales is that of Swift Runner, who ended up eating his family and wasn't even aware of it until tribal authorities went with him. So yeah. So it's that malicious urging spirit to consume, in that it will go so far as to cause the others to consume taboo other people. And yeah, but like we talked about with the skinwalker being appropriated and used far too often, the Wendigo was a piece of lore and mythology. But it didn't look like that. It was a pale, gaunt figure. It had no horns. And yet you see so many depictions of it with antlers. It never had antlers according to the original tales. Remember, it's born out of Algonquian tales, which are a lot of the native groups that lived in places along the US Canada border, especially like Minnesota, North Dakota, and into Canada, where survival became so difficult because you weren't always guaranteed you were going to find food. So yeah, the whole idea of the Wendigo is that it's starvation incarnate, hunger incarnate. No matter how much they consume, they never get full. There is a disorder known as Wendigo psychosis now, based on the lore of the creature, that will cause, which is often assigned to some people who eat human flesh. So, yeah, because they kind of crave it. So, but again, we have appropriations of myth, of lore, that are poorly represented. Look, I don't pretend to be native. I'm not native. Yeah, there might be genetics, but it's nothing I can prove unless I go get me a genetics test or anything. So, all in all, until something is shown like that, I can't say a damn thing about me being native. But the lore, the folklore, all of it interests me. Especially around here, this place was Cherokee territory. And so a lot of Cherokee myths are stuff that really interest me. The moon-eyed people, Spearfinger, the Deer Woman. Um, there's a lot about Cherokee lore that interests me. But when I see so much lore being poorly represented, at least do some research into it, guys. For a long time, I only thought of the Wendigo as having antlers. At one point, I was doing some reading. Turns out, hey, that's not what the original tales suggested. There was no talk of horns and antlers. Yeah. If if you are going to talk about the mythology, the legends, the lore, at least show it some respect. That's all I'm asking in these situations. Um, yeah. But seriously, guys, that's just kind of all I wanted to talk about in this episode, because it just, it kind of irritates me. This, there's a lot of cultural value for the native mythologies and legends for Canada, the US, Mexico. You know, I know often there's less known about when you get into Central and South America about the native tribal lore there, but there's a lot that has been transcribed, even though a lot of it was forced out by certain peoples in as they tried to colonize a land that was already owned. Yeah. But yeah, again, if you're interested, if you like the stuff, wonderful. But show it some respect, some understanding that a lot of what's often portrayed is not often what's right. So be aware, be ready to discover things that may not line up in different tells. Where is that? I don't think I have it here, but I've got a book um, about the Cherokee. I think the guy's name was Mooney, but he writes about the language, the people, the mythologies, all the stuff. I need to read it on the channel at some point. I need to read it, period. I haven't read it. I've got it. You know, I'm kind of a hoarder of knowledge. I like, ooh, I like that book. That sounds good. That book sounds good. That. So yeah, there's still a lot I've got to finish reading and actually get into reading stuff. But as I've already noted here, show the legends some modicum of respect. You know, because a lot of this is born out of life they had to live regardless. So Wendigo, you know, struggles of survival, and the Skinwalker, the evils that could be committed. But yeah. Um, anyway, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting some links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.